will be continuing demonstration of the HFSS and clearing of your doubts. So welcome Akash sir for second session.
Thank you, sir.
Kindly take over the session.
Right, sir. So, in the previous case, we had designed a FSS surface and we had seen the results out there. However, I would like to mention out two things which I could not mention earlier. First thing is, again, it was one of the general oversight on my part. The thing is, when we have designed this rectangle out here and we had not assigned it any material, I had forgot to tell you to assign it material. So this has to be assigned a material. This one has to be assigned a material. So probably in the previous case, I had not assigned a material, simply made a cut out there and created a box. So if you assign a material to it, you can see it here. I have reassigned the material, and then you will be getting these parameters out here. So I had what the model that I had made earlier before the session started. I had already assigned the material. Here the material was not assigned, but I have reassigned the material and rechecked the values. So you can see these two are exactly matching. So this was done. This was done initially before the classes, and these are the results in which the marker has been put, and this has been done right now in the class itself. So you are getting this kind of result out of first thing. And second thing, the same thing was repeated for the second case also. Hence, I checked the results were not coming fine. So what I've done is I have redone the simulation by assigning it to the perfectly boundary condition. So you can see it out here. This has been assigned a perfectly boundary. So this was missing out earlier. So we'll check the results. In the meanwhile, we'll proceed with the design of the antenna and see how we can place all those things together. So I have opened a second design out here. In the second design, let me share this also. So we are going to design this antenna out here on a particular substrate. So here you have two antennas are there. You can see this antenna and this antenna. So they are put at 90 degrees angle. So there will be orthogonal polarization. It means whatever the polarization of this antenna will be, one way will be suppose X polarized. So this will be Y polarized out here. We are not again not talking about whether it's circular or linear. So whatever the polarization of this antenna will be, the second antenna will be just orthogonally polarized compared to this. And we have got these four strips out here so that the isolation remains between these two antennas. So we are going to design this structure right now. So first thing is designing a rectangle out here. The size of the rectangle is LT. The length and the width both are LT. The value of LT is given out here. It's 72 millimeter. It has minus. Okay, here it has shifted. Okay, this is drawn out here. Uh, let's keep it the same orientation as shown in the paper. Next, a circle has been drawn in it. It draws circle. Length is cut. and this has been drawn on the top of a substrate. So we'll see what kind of substrate has been utilized for drawing the antenna out here. So antenna has been drawn on the substrate out here. We'll check it out. Okay, consists of circular slot etched on the upper surface of upper substrate RO4003C of dielectric 3.38. So I had chosen Arlon earlier. I'm going to choose this one R04003C 3.38, thickness 0.508. So I'll draw a box. So I'll leave it as substrate. R04003C. 4003. Fine. So the C is not there. What we will do out here is, let me arrange it once. I'm going to choose this view edit material. Okay, there is already a material present. I assigned this material probably earlier. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to choose that material with itself. So let me remove this R0 4000. So you can see this is already there in the project out here, which has been modified to 3.38 as shown here. So I'll select this material, click on OK, and let me increase the transparency of this. 0.6, okay. And the next step will be changing its dimension. And the Z size, let's keep it as H underscore substrate. And the value given here is 0.508. And this is 0. So let's make it go down in the lower direction. So what I will do is H substrate, I make it minus. So that starting from Z equal to 0, it goes in the direction of Z equal to minus 0.508. So this is created. This is the substrate. This is the patch on the top of it. And this is the cut which we are going to make it. The next step will be putting these four rectangles out here. So they have got a length of LS. The length is LS and the width is WS 0.6. So what I will do is I will draw a rectangle out here. So first of all, I will name it as isolator 1. Isolator 1. So this is isolator made of copper. Let me click it. So this is the isolator that is made out here. Fine. First of all, what we will do is we will quickly change its dimension. So isolator's dimension as LS and WS. So X size is, so in X direction, it is, let's suppose this is WS, and in Y direction, let's assume for a moment that this isolator was kept straight like this. Straight like this. So its length is along the Y direction and its width is along the X direction. So the X will be equal to, let's say, WS, and the Y size. So WS, the value is 0.6 mm, and the Y size is the length. So LS is equal to 19 mm. Okay, and we change this also. Let's say the X. Click on OK. So this has been created. Now the question comes, it should start exactly from this point. Exactly from this point shown out here. So what is the value of this point? This is equal to the radius of this cut. So it has been defined, radius is 26 mm. We are going to change that. So the radius of the cut will be mentioned out here. That is equal to Ri. And the value of Ri is shown out here is equal to 29. So for cut that was made out here, we'll make it as Ri, and that is equal to 29 mm. So all things have been adjusted. Now this has to be put back in the Y direction. So what I will do is I'll select this in Y, its position I will make it as minus RS, RI, the value of the isolator. Okay. Now you have to clearly visualize, look, it has come here. Ri, it has come here, right? And second thing is, it should lie symmetric way. So that also we are going to do it. In X, I'm going to put it as minus WS by 2. So now it is totally symmetric with respect to this. But it is not placed exactly here. It is placed at a certain distance. So what we'll do is, we have done this. Now we can easily rotate it. Select this. Operations. We are going to duplicate it. The reason is there are two options. This option is the left hand side you can see and the right hand side. So if you may choose this option that is on the right hand side, what will happen is the structure will move of course, but single structure as it is, the same structure is going to move. In this case, a copy is created and that copy is moved around. So if let's take an example, if this patch is there, if I move it, let's suppose I'm moving from here to here. So the patch has moved. Now, if I do the same thing, but with this operation, so you can see a duplicate has been created. It's asking me how many copies, 2 copies, so 2 have been created. So I'm going to rotate it, operation around axis, let's say around Z axis, I'm going to rotate it by how much degree? Let's say 45 degrees, 45 degrees, 45, 45. So let's say I'm rotating it for the moment by 90 degrees. Let's say for the moment, and total number equal to, let's say if I move it by 45, again another 45, multiple copies will be created. So the way of doing this is, let me rotate it by 90 degrees itself for the moment. So if I rotate it by 90 degrees and the number of copies, I make it as 4. Okay. So you can see 4 copies have been created, but they are not at the position where they should be. They are actually tilted like this. So again, there is a way for that. What we will do is, since this is a cut out here and these structures are there, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 structures are there. What we will do is simply apply the operation once again. Operation, this time rotate around the Z axis by not 90 degrees but by 45 degrees. Click on OK. So we get the structure finally. You can see it out here. So we have got the same figure that is mentioned out here. Now the thing is to draw this semicircle, circular, and all those things out here. So for that, what we are going to draw is, first of all, let's draw the feed line. So draw. The feed line is drawn here. So let's suppose this is the feed line. What I have drawn is I'm going to draw this part out here. So once this is drawn, the next step is going for a taper and a straight line. So you can see the taper is starting exactly from this position. So what I will do is I can draw the feed line from this position. Let's suppose the distance can be anything. or I'll just keep it, let's say just this much, so that this serves as a reference for this. And the width will be mentioned out here. Let's check it out if the width is mentioned or not. Now that's the issue in the many papers. Multiple things usually are not given out here. However, since we are doing it parametric way, we are going to assume multiple things out here. So suppose this is a rectangle, this is the feed out here. So what we'll do is we'll call it as feed one, okay, and we are going to make it parametric. So let's suppose in x direction, you can see it out here. In the x direction, there is a width. In the y direction, there is a length. So x direction, we'll put the width as w feed. So let's keep it as, let's say, 1 mm itself. Okay. And in the y direction is the length. So we'll keep it as L feed. So let's keep it as 3 mm for the moment. Okay. And where does the feed start from? So it's starting exactly from this point, exactly at the end of it. So what is the end of it? So this is equal to LT by 2. So in y direction, this is LT by 2 in y direction. This is LT by 2. But since it is starting in the negative y, we'll make it as minus LT by 2. It's already done out here. And in the x, it will be minus W feed by 2. Okay. So right now you can see this has been made out here. But since the width of the feed is not specified, we have to assume certain things. Let's see if the width of the feed is given out here or not. So this is one of the issues of following a paper directly. Some certain things usually are not given out here. So LT, RI, WS, WT, phi, HT. HT is okay. HT is this distance. So again, what I'm assuming is small bit of mathematics is involved out here. From the center to this end out here, from the center to the end of this out here, the total length is equal to LT by 2. Center to this end is LT by 2. And from center to the circle is radius Ri. So what is this distance? This is equal to LT by 2 minus Ri. LT by 2 minus Ri. So what I'm going to do is, this is LT by 2 minus Ri. So what is happening out here is, the feed line is starting from here and going inside to a distance h out here. So this was the rectangle 2 that I had created. So let me start it at LT by 2 minus Ri in the negative y direction. Let's see what is going to happen. I click on apply. LT by 2, that is fine, minus LT by 2 minus, okay, this is Ri. So this will be equal to LT by 2. Okay, fine. We'll go back to that. That is 7 mm. Fine. We'll keep it for the moment like this itself. Right. Sorry. We'll start it from Ri itself. I made a mistake. We'll start it from Ri itself and let it go at a distance of, let's start from Ri itself. Minus Ri and let it go a distance of HT out here. That is in the negative y direction, HT. So HT, I hope they have given out here 1.5 mm. So this is equal to 1.5 mm. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll make it as negative. So this has been done. So starting from here, it's going up till here, and this thing should start from here and go to up to certain distance up till here. So I'm going to increase the size also for this rectangle 2. This is done, fine out here. And the first feet that is drawn out here, its size should start so that it start from here and go to a certain distance. So let's see if we are able to do that. So its this y size should be equal to L feet. Fine, that is given. So L feet, if I'm making it is, let me do a rough idea of trial and error out here. So probably it might become better. We'll go to view, properties. If I make it as 4 mm, 5, let me make it as 7, or let's do 6 mm. Fine. So for 5.5, I'm getting something like this. Now, the last step that is remaining out here is drawing a circle out here. So we'll draw a circle. Fine. This circle has been drawn out here, and this needs to be half circle. The first thing has to be seen whether the circle has been drawn at the correct position or not. So this position from here to here is Ri, and this is, and we need to come back a distance by how much the radius of this circle. So we'll do that exactly. So this is Rp. So this circle 1, I will name it as antenna 1. Antenna 1. Okay. This is done. Select this antenna 1, change this dimension, lead circle. Radius is equal to Rp, and the value of Rp is given as 9 mm. Okay. Fine, and then we'll move it up. So we'll select this. In the y direction, what should be the value? So it should be equal to Ri minus, this is entirely equal to Ri minus, let's say, Rp, and see what happens. And this should be negative. So this is done. Apply. Fine. So this is coming out here. So this is done. Fine. And one more last thing that is left is there is a small gap that is kept out. So the value of the gap is probably not mentioned out here. So we'll take just a rough gap out here so that the circle which is on the outside is not touching this. We'll draw a rectangle. Or the better part is, let's copy this rectangle itself. Rectangle. This is named as feed 1. Fine. Control C, Control V. This is there. Well, let me call it as gap. Click on OK. So this rectangle has been created out here. Now this rectangle needs to be expanded. So what I will do is, in the x direction, this needs to be expanded. So in the x direction itself, size, let's keep it as plus, let's say nominal value. Let's say nominal value of, I'm naming it as gap. It will be equal to 0.5 mm. Okay. And this same thing in x size, W feed by 2 plus gap by 2. So this rectangle is created and its height should go completely towards the top. So the height should be in the y dashes should be equal to, let's say, LT minus LT minus RI. It should be actually equal to LT by 2. Hence, error was found. Okay. Fine. So this kind of structure is made. So the antenna is almost made. The last thing that is remaining out here is cutting the circle into half. So for cutting the circle into half, we're going to apply the split operation out here. So how to apply the split operation is, if I split it out here right now, it will be split around this XY plane. So nothing is going to happen. Along the XZ plane, nothing is going to happen. So for that, we are going to define a relative coordinate system. Relative coordinate system means coordinate system related to which we are going to do our current point. So go to modeler, coordinate system, create relative CS offset. And what I do is I simply click at the center of it. So center is here probably. Let's see this. Fine. Now what I will do is, here you can see the lower left hand side. This is known as relative CS. Fine. I can rename it. Let's say for antenna cut. Okay. Now select this antenna and then go to modeler surface split. Or let me right click here. Okay, the split option is here, right? You can go for split. So we are going to split it along the XZ plane. So we'll select XZ from here, ZX, fine. And we are going to keep the negative side out here. So keep the negative side and click on OK. So the antenna is split. This entire thing has been done. Now all is remaining is connecting the feed out here. So for that, what we'll do is we'll go use this polyline. This is already defined as a reference. First click here. Second click, let's say anywhere inside. Suppose here. Or let's say we are going to leave a click a little bit inside so that it becomes easier. First click here. Second click. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Third click. And finally, the last click, we are giving it here. And connecting it like this. So this has been done. So the antenna has been made and all is remaining is copy this, select this all three and unite. This is united and we'll select this. Now we're going to change the coordinate system out here. So we'll select the global coordinate system. Select this antenna out here which we have created. The antenna is here. Let's see. Patch, not the patch. Gap. Okay, this is the antenna. Let me do one thing. Let me select this one first. Feed and polygon this one. Go to unite. So whatever is selected first, that name will come here. Then go to rotate it. Rotate it. How much? By 90 degrees. And now total number is equal to 2 itself. Fine. We are going to rotate the entire thing. The antenna plus the gap that we are going to create. So the gap is mentioned out here. Gap. Right. Antenna and the gap. So what we are going to do is rotate it 90 degrees. What size equal to 2. Click on OK. So this is done. The last step that is remaining is take the cut, take the patch from here, take the cut out here and subtract it. So subtract it from here and this is done. So this figure is first is obtained. Second thing is unite all these. This one, 2, 3, 4, and unite them. This is united, and the third step is creating a gap out here. So select the structure and select gap and gap 1 and subtract them. So this is subtracted. So right now, and we can remove these rectangles which we had created earlier. This was of just for purpose of showing it. So rectangle 2 is there, rectangle 1 will also be there, rectangle 2 is there. So delete this. Fine. So this is the structure has been created. Now just assign it as boundaries. So select this. Select this. Let's go for individual selections. Select this. Assign boundary. Or we can go for something else also. We can go for finite conductivity also. If you are trying to make it of copper, let's go for copper itself. Use material. Copper. Click on OK. And OK. This is done. Second thing is antennas. This antenna also. Right click. Assign boundary. Finite conductivity. Use material. Search for copper. Okay. And the third thing. Assign boundary. Finite conductivity. And here we choose copper. Okay. So this thing has been assigned copper. The structure has been made. This antenna 2 I'll name it as such. And this is the final thing. So fine, this three things have been made out here, as you can see. And finally, let's check the structure of FSS and put it out. So let's verify it. So this is what has been done out here. The structure has been made, the antenna has been placed out there, and below that, the FSS structure that you made earlier, that has to be placed. One more thing will be remaining in this case is like placing of the ports. So that we have to see how to place the port. So that I will show it out here, how to place the port. In the meanwhile, let's check the result for the FSS case. Mode 1, mode 1, mode 1, mode 1, mode 1, mode 1, mode 2, mode 1. Fine. Okay, this is for setup 1. Let's check it once again. Model solution rectangle plot. Let me try it for setup 2 sweep. Fine, we are getting this kind of value out here. So this is the fine. This is S11. This is a reflection out here, and this is a transmission out here, S12. Fine. So the results, let's check it out. Are they matching or not? So results are a bit different from here, probably because of the mismatch in the size or something has happened. So what I will suggest is, let me check it out. What I would suggest initially is I'll send the paper to you. Okay, so you can check the results out on your own itself. And this was a random paper, but this is IEEE paper, so I'll try this result design once again. But the steps and instructions for doing the same, the thing is same as mentioned out here. The dimensions were made, this thing was done. Anyway, let's try it out. Let's try it out what the results are coming. So in this case, we are getting a result close to 6 point from the band, let's say close to 3 to, if I take the minus 3 dB line, so it was coming close to 3 to 14 gigahertz, 14 or 15 gigahertz. But in our case, we are getting it, let's say from 14 to 18 not also, it's less than that, 16.7 or 16.8 gigahertz. So there is a huge difference between these results that I have shown out here and the results that are mentioned in the paper. But anyway, the technique is the same. Probably some dimensions have been mismatched out here. So I'll verify it later. In the meanwhile, let me complete the final steps of the design. That is designing a port out here. Some of you had asked yesterday how to design a CPW port. So that also I'll show it out here. And later on, placing the FSS below the antenna structure. So this antenna, I'm going back to the antenna structure out here. So this is done. Now it question comes of placing the port out here. So the port will be made in the XZ direction. So ZX, one rectangle is drawn out here. Fine. So this rectangle name is, let's keep it as port 1. Okay. And this rectangle should start from negative y at this place and this place also. So it should start at minus LT by 2 at this end. So what I will do is, in the negative y direction, minus LT by 2. Apply. So the port you can see has shifted out here. And let's give it a certain distance. Let the Z size or the height of the port defined be as H underscore port. So let's give it for the moment as 10 mm, or let's give it as 6 mm. And the width of the port, let me give it also as 8 mm for the moment, or W underscore port 8 mm. Okay. So this has been done. Next step is putting it there. So this will be equal to minus W port. Just excuse me for a second. Just a minute. So this port that I'm showing out here, so this port somebody asked, so it should cover the feed line completely, and it should be somewhat this side also extended and this side also extended. Usually the port dimensions are at least 10 times W. So W is the width of this out here, the width of the feed line out here. So position is, let's say we are talking about the negative X size, so it will be minus W port by 2. And this should be equal to minus H port by 2. So the port has been made out here. Fine. As you can see, the port has been made out here. This port, if I rotate it by 90 degrees, duplicate, rotate it, Z by 90 degrees, click on OK. So the port 2 has been created. I'll change the name to port 2. Now comes the question of excitation. So for giving the excitation of the door is select the same thing. Right click, copy, paste. So this is port 3 has been done. We'll change the name to port cap 1. Okay. And then give it a certain thickness. Let's say, and just for the sake of checking, if I give it as 5 mm, so it's going in the positive direction, I'll change it to minus 0.01 mm. Okay. So let me come back and change the material to PEC. And rotate the same thing, this one also. Actually, rotation should have been done at the same time, but still doesn't matter much. So this port cap 2 has been created. Okay. Now the antenna has been made. Okay. Now only things remains is give it the excitation and give it a bound. So let's check it once again. The boundaries have been given. This boundary, this one, and this one. Antenna is already there. The substrate is there. The last thing that is left is the excitation. So we'll select this port 1, right click, assign excitation. Let's go for wave port. Because this is not a closed, this is an open structure, but we are getting more than 2 conductors, one this side, one this side. So new line. So let's start from the center and go to the top. So next and finish. Same thing we will do it this side. Right click, assign excitation, wave port. Okay, fine. We'll select port 2, right click, assign excitation, wave port, new line. Select this, go to the top, next and finish. So this has been done. We'll check its variation out here in the given PDF. So again, the same thing, to let's say 15 gigahertz, or it's given below, fine. Or 11 gigahertz itself they are trying to show. So we'll go up to 11 gigahertz only. Let's say 1 to 11 gigahertz. And if things are okay here, then it might good. And the last thing that will be left is giving it the radiation boundary. So earlier yesterday we saw giving the radiation boundary manual. So today we'll go for the automatic method. The first thing is for that we need to define the excitation setup first. So we'll go to analysis, add solution setup. So it's going from 1 to 15 gigahertz. It's going from 1 to 11 gigahertz itself. So let's go for broadband. The proper use of system software out here 1 to 11. Number of passes we make it 20. Go to options, make it as mixed order. Number of converse passes to click on OK. So this is done. So it's again 1 to 11 gigahertz. Points is 451 interpolating. We click on OK. That's fine. And finally, for automatic creation of this HFSS model, create open region. So in open region, we are going for radiation and we'll choose the lower boundary. So that is 2 gigahertz. We'll choose it as 2 gigahertz. One small thing out here. So initially, when you make all the calculations out here, let's say initially for this case, we are going for radiation boundary. But once you have got radiation boundary, you're getting good results out there. So before going for fabrication, what you do is you make the same results and make the same structure, but instead of radiation, go for PML, perfectly matched layer boundary condition. So because of that, whatever the measured results that will be coming for you, that will be same as whatever the results are coming in simulation. Because PML is more accurate than radiation boundary condition. And FEBI is of course the most accurate, but we are not using that right now. So right now I'm going for radiation, not going for PML. PML is used once you have done the simulation because PML takes slightly more computational resource. Hence it is advised to go for it at the end. So I'm going for radiation, click on OK. You can see automatically the boundary has been created. No need to give it lambda by 4 or something. HFSS itself creates the boundary. So you can see this HFSS created the boundary, and you can check it out in this open one. You can see it's here in boundaries tab, type its radiation. So next step is just validate it. So something is missing out here. Let's see what's missing out here. Finite conductivity to overlap. Let's why they are overlapping. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. Let me remove this. Clear. Fine. Link clear everything. Let me validate it again. Once again. Validate. Close. Perfect conductor 1 and perfect conductor 2 overlap. Conductor 1 and conductor 3 overlap. So 1 is overlapping with 2 and 3. So what is 1? So this is 1. Why is it overlapping? Okay, fine. It is overlapping because of this part. This thing out here. Okay, because you can see it's overlapping because certain parts is remaining out here. So what we'll do in such a case, the cut that we made out here, we are going to increase the dimensions of the cut. So thankfully we had got a cut out here. So what we'll do is the cut was made out here in sheets. We can find it, patch, subtract, gap is there, fine. So things will be easier. What we'll do is simply for gap, the value was 0.5. Let's make it as 0.6. It has increased. We'll also increase it on the top side. So what is the value of the gap on the top side? It is equal to W in Y direction. It is LT by 2 plus RI. So we'll add an offset out here. Let's say plus offset Y. So let's keep it as 1 mm. Okay. So you can see now, I hope they are not overlapping. No, they are not overlapping here. Fine. And the same thing, that is the purpose of doing it parametrically. You can see the same thing has happened out here. Now I hope the errors will be gone. I will validate it once again. Validate. Fine, the errors are gone. Let me clear everything. Validate once again. Okay, the errors are gone. Now I'll make a copy of it so that I can place the meta matrix, the FSS beneath it. So I'll make a copy of it. Fine, the copy is made out here. And in the meanwhile, I let it run. Analyze all. Next step will be placing the metamaterial, placing the frequency selective surface out. So let's check it out how they have placed it out here. They have placed it beneath at a certain distance. They have placed it beneath it at a certain distance out here. So the number of cells out here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 14 cross 14 is made out here. So what we'll do here is this is a design out here. So first of all, this is already copied. The antenna is already present out here. We'll select except the box. Everything is selected out here. Copy. Come to design 3. And let's paste it here. Fine. Let's make a copy of it. So how many are there? 14 cross 14. So let's move it. Fine. So also it's okay. What was the distance that was equal to? In x direction, the distance was equal to, let's check it out from here. This was L1. Fine. I'll move it by L1 itself. That was it. Okay, I have to give the value of L1 out here. Leave it, fine. What I will do is, initially I'll move it. Or the best thing is, let's say, fine. I'm selecting this end. It will ask me number of copies. Let me create total of 14 copies out here. 14. Okay. So you can see these copies have been created. Now what I will do is I'll select all of them and then again do the same thing. So okay, not everything was selected. Fine. Let me do one thing. This substrate was there, outer ring was there. What I will do is right click, group it together. Group, create. Let's call it group one. Okay. Now this group one that you are seeing out here, this we are going to repeat. So if I click on this, select the group one out here. Then number of elements equal to 14. Click on OK. Now multiple groups are not created. Fine. That is OK out here. No issues at all. What we will do is once this has been done, hit this action. This being created out here. Fine. And at the end, once this is done, we'll simply click on Unite. So we'll select all the substrates out here. And click on Unite. This is done. And the same thing goes for the sheets too. All the sheets are selected and click on Unite. So the operation is being performed. It's taking some time, but it's done almost. It's but because the simulation is running in the background, so this is taking some time, but it's okay. So once the structure is made, it will place something like this, and the final thing will be giving it a certain distance out. Okay, anyway, probably because of simulation thing it's going on. Uh, Fine. So this was the issue out here. So you can see it's finally united. The last thing is placing it out here. So select the entire structure along with the substrate. and let's place it at the center itself. Oh, so let's say it's here. Fine. And you can see a move command has been created out here. Right? And here we can place a value h out here. H underscore, whatever is given out here. So this is equal to h underscore, let's say h underscore air gap. Initially, let's keep it as 1 mm. Okay. Again, okay. And the same thing, we will do it here. H underscore air gap. This is 10. So right now you can see it here. So this has been placed out here. And the value of parameter is h air gap. In this figure, it's given as h. H is given as, let's check it out, 12 mm. So if I make it as 12 mm, you will see everything will change out here. I've clicked on 12. So HFSS is responding to it. We'll wait for it. So this shows that RAM should be quite high. Usually 16 GB is preferred, not even 8 GB like in this case. The reason is simulation is being running in the background, and the front end, the modeling part is going on. Hence, some time is being taken for this. So this is coming on the top below. So what I'll do is I'll make it as -12. So again, it's sending it the lower hand side. So I'm not going to run this simulation right now. So this was the last thing that had to be done. Okay, and the setup and the analysis has to be done the same way. Once this is done, fine. So this is your antenna on the top. This is your antenna on the top with the wave port as mentioned out here. And this is the frequency selective surface which is kept on the lower end side. The setup will be kept the same thing out here. You can see the setup has also been copied out here, and the simulation can be run. So this is the figure that was shown out here. So the same figure we have tried it out. We have not run it yet. You can check it out here. And using the FSS, the gain has also increased out here. You can see the proposed antenna without FSS. It's giving a peak gain of 6.4 dBi at certain levels. But with the help of FSS, the gain is quite improved at different frequencies. So with this, I'll put the session open for questions. Many of the things might have been a bit difficult to follow, but with practice, you'll get it out here, like how the things have been modeled out here.
Thank you, Professor, for your efforts and for explaining in such a nice manner, going to the minute details of every step. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
So, may I take questions now?
Sure, sir. We can take the questions now.
Okay, so one question is related to I think your this latest simulation. Can you show the result without FSS? Why you have taken question as the first question?
Right. So that result is only coming right now. It's still running. You can see adaptive pass number 9 is still running. So this is the antenna without FSS.
Okay, okay. Okay, then the next question is again related to the ports. I think this question you have answered earlier also. How to decide which port excitation to be used? Wave port, lump port, flocket port.
Flocket port we'll use only for unit cell. Only in the case of unit cell, when the waves are going to be incident, only in that case, when we want HFSS to know that whatever structure that we have made out here, that needs to be repeated infinite number of times in particular plane. In that case itself, when we are going to make clones of that thing structure, in that case only flocket port is going to be used. Otherwise, for any structure where it is a single structure, in that case, we are going to use either lump port or wave port. Again, the question comes whether to use wave port or lump port. So if
Yes.
the structure has got only two conductors which has to be connected across, in that case, lump port is sufficient. However, in the places where there are more than two conductors, three or more, in that case, wave port is the only option. Like in this case, antenna you saw. So in this case, we have got more than two conductors. How? Actually, this is one conductor. Select it. Just a minute. Just a minute. Let me select it here. Okay. Fine, everything is selected at the same time, but as you can see out here, uh, from this end up till here, up till this part is one conductor, and this lower quadrant is another conductor, and the center feed line is the third conductor. So I have to, it becomes a kind of CPW kind of structure. So three conductors are there, one, two, and the center three. So in that case, lump port is not going to work because it will ask there are multiple conductors. So in that case, wave port has been assigned here.
Okay, sir. Thank you. And the next question is how gain is calculated with respect to frequency and what will be the value of theta and phi?
Uh, can you repeat the question, sir?
How gain is calculated with respect to frequency
Okay.
and what will be the value of theta and phi?
Correct. Okay, fine. What will be the value of theta and phi, and how the gain is calculated? So
With
what we
respect
do
to
in such
frequency.
cases, let me open the previous design. In this case, okay, it's already opened out here. So what we do in such a case, for that, go to radiation. Infinite sphere is already created, or if not created, you can create it from radiation. Insert far field setup, infinite sphere, and create the 0 to 360. Then go to infinite sphere, right click, compute antenna parameters. Fine. And in compute antenna parameters, you can see for a particular frequency, what is the value of gain that is mentioned out here. This you can check it out here. Like peak gain is there, peak realized gain is there, peak system gain is there, peak activity, all those things are mentioned out here. So you can choose the value of gain from this case. And so this is for particular frequency. If you change the frequency, you can get a different gain altogether. If I change it, suppose so, so these are the frequencies that we had run. So in this case, okay, so in this case, you can see the gain is varying across different frequencies, 5.2, 6.5, 6.8. So gain is increasing. The antenna is becoming more and more directed. However, if I correctly understand your question, if you want to plot gain versus frequency, in that case, you need to specify theta and phi. So what usually suggested is choose the value of theta phi directly from this place itself. So we can choose, let's say, first one itself, let's say 348 degrees, 178 degrees itself, and let it go across completely. This value of theta, this value of phi, and the sweep you can keep frequency itself, primary sweep.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Should I go for next question?
Right side.
Yeah. The next question is what is difference between FSS and AMC, artificial magnetic conductor?
Artificial magnetic conductor I have not worked upon, so I cannot comment on that. So I'm sorry, I cannot answer this question right now.
Okay, sir. No problem. Then the next question is what distance you taken from FSS to antenna layout?
So FSS to antenna layout, I have taken the distance in this case, whatever was mentioned is PDF. So they have done a simulation of here and they have kept the distance h out here. So increasing or decreasing the distance might will of course change the value out here. So that has to be optimized. So right now I have taken the distance whatever was mentioned in this paper.
Okay. Then the next question is, can you show current distribution on patch and explain impact of including 4 rectangular isolators?
Okay, I can show it. Of course, I can show it. Fine. I hope the simulation. Anyway, it can be shown right now itself because that current distribution is not. So again, for that, I cannot show right now the impact of it. This isolators out here. The reason is for that I have to make another design in which these isolators are not present. So right now I've got only one design, but in this design itself, I can show the current distribution, but we cannot get a reference because the design has to be made which does not have these isolators out here. So let's say I'm selecting these two. It is asked for surface current density or electric field, whatever was mentioned in the question.
Current distribution only.
Current distribution, okay. So J, magnitude of J surface. Let's say I'm talking about 6 gigahertz itself. That's okay. Fine. Done. So again, it's going to take some time. So again, cannot be commented because isolators are present. So the second design needs to be isolators need to be removed, and in that case, again the current distribution has to be plotted. But in this case, and one more thing, the effect of this the visible effect you can see it in the S21 parameters. Okay, current distribution you can of course visualize, but when you are checking S21 parameters out there, so there will be huge isolation between these two. Means S21 will be quite low, minus 30, minus 40, something like that. S21 should be quite low. Okay, so next question.
Okay. Thank you. So next question is, if a design does not converge, then what is the solution to converge it?
Okay, if a design does not converge, first thing is you have to increase the number of passes out here. First thing is increase the number of passes. Second thing is for convergence. Okay, for convergence, if it does not converge, increase the number of passes. First thing, usually make the number of pass close to 20, more than 6. 6 is the default which HFSS gives, but we make it increase up to 20. So even in 20, if it does not converge, and in next case, what we can do is we can decrease the mesh size. So let's suppose if any structure is there. So normal structures, no need to verify anything. Like in this case, uh, suppose if this was separate. So in this case, I'll keep it as it is. But if there is any irregularly shaped structure, let's say a circular or zigzag or any leaf shaped structure, in that case, we'll select the structure. Suppose this is the structure. Go to mesh operations, assign on selection length based, and decrease the element size, maximum element length. It's 14.4. Let's say I'm going to make it 10 or 9. So in that case, probably the convergence might be achieved.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So next question is related to that gain plot only. How graph is found with respect to frequency by clicking results as shown in this paper? Basically,
Okay, let's check.
participant was asking about the plotting of graph.
Okay. So first thing what they have done is two things you have to verify. First thing is they have plotted gain in how many points? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Only 9 points, and peak gain has been plotted on 9 points. So what has to be done in such a case is, so I have got a frequency value for only 3 points instead of 9 points. So what I will do is in finite sphere compute antenna parameters. This is done. I'll select this sweep one. Select all. Okay, this is done. Then export. Okay, you can click on export. Let's say in plain text format. Fine. Export parameters on desktop or any place. So these all values will be exported. Or what you can do is you can directly choose this field 5.2, 6.5, 6.8, plot it. Otherwise, The other option of doing that is go to results, terminal far field reports, radiation rectangular plot, gain, gain total, no units, primary qubit frequency. Okay, families, let's keep theta equal to 0, 5 also let's keep it as 0. Usually we keep it as 0, but the best option is to go for the peak gain only. It means we have to extract the peak gain from here. Theta equal to 0, 5 equal to 0, click on new report. This is one way of doing it. From here I have to change, I have to make it safe. Of course, here, theta equal to 0, 5 equal to 0. This is one way of doing it. But the better way of is, as I showed earlier, extract the points from here itself. Right from here, extract the points, whatever is mentioned for in case, and plot them on any graph or something. 5.2, 5.6.3, 6.2. Okay, sir. Next question, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Next question is, what are the basic differences between HFSS 16 and current version? Because I am working on 16. Question by one.
Okay, right, sir. So the differences are, first thing is, which every iteration a solver, the solver gets more accurate and also faster. So first of all, whatever you are solving now, and you solve in 18, sorry, the current version, that is 2020 R2. First thing is the solver has improved very much. So the time what you are taking, at least you will get 40 to 50% improvement in time. Second thing is the accuracy of the results is going to improve. Third thing is many new features have been added. And the fourth thing is, in the third thing itself, new features like EMI, EMC toolkits have been added in the new version. And also, if you are working on antennas, especially array antennas, because 2020 R1 and R2 have been designed with keeping 5G into mind. So if you're designing array antennas or any kind of arrays out there, so in that case, it has got certain tips and tricks which will help you to design any antenna faster. No need to make multiple copies like this.
Okay, sir.
We have this IcePack version along with it. Version 16, I don't think it has IcePack, but version 20 has got IcePack included in it. If you want to go for thermal analysis, also that can be done.
Okay, sir. May I read next question?
Sure, sir.
So this question is related again to arrays only, simulation of arrays only. So can you please show what setting we have to do to enable quick run when we simulate arrays, activating multiple cores basically?
Okay. So arrays I'm going to take tomorrow, but settings for running not only array, any simulation faster is you have to go for tools, options, HPC options. Here you have to go for local edit and change the number of cores out there. Cores and tasks, you have to change it out here. Array special settings, there is not special settings, but we design it in such a way that HFSS does the meshing once and that mesh is repeated n number of times. That is one thing. So that we are going to show tomorrow. But this, what I showed now, is valid for any case out there, array filters or the simple antennas.
Okay, sir. And the next question is, sir.
Yes, sir.
What is non-manifold versus error and how to rectify it?
Okay, non-manifold versus error. Na. So in that case, what you do is you decrease the mesh size. So it will come usually if you are going for a curved structure out there. So it will be difficult to mesh that curved structure. So go to again select that structure. Usually it will mention that that manifold error is coming in particular geometry 1 or geometry 2. Select that geometry, go to mesh operations, right click, assign, or on selection, length based, and whatever. Okay, I have already selected this, right? Mesh operations. Okay, this is different altogether, different design. It should be right. This one is the right one. Here itself, mesh operations, assign, on selection, length based, change the value, decrease it. Let's say 14 is there, make it 12, make it 11 or 10. This is one way of doing it, and side by side, you can do this also. Initial mesh settings. You can see here what are this is auto meshing. Okay, HFSS will see what we do. And there are two, classic and now. classic and tau. So you can click on this apply curvilinear mixing to all curved surfaces first thing, and here you can go for resolution. You can see what happens. So you can see the difference if I'm making it coarse. So this is coarse. The mesh size is quite coarse. So you can see that the resolution is pretty bad. If I increase it, keep on increasing, the mesh count is increasing, and the structure is becoming more finely meshed, and the geometry is being more accurately captured. So I'm cancelling it for the moment. So you can make the changes out here, make it more fine. In here, mesh operations, in mesh settings. Right, sir?
Okay, sir. Thank you. Next question is, tomorrow, please explain antenna array design with corporate feed.
Fine.
So that is one request. And next is, when giving pro feed to patch by placing meta surface between patch and ground, what are precautions to be taken?
So can you repeat this question once again?
When giving pro feed to patch by placing
Okay.
meta surface between patch and ground, what are precautions to be taken?
So in that case, one thing is that if you are going to place it normal case in HFSS, no issues are going to come out because we are going to use board cap and other things. But in real life, all you have to take care is they are not touching each other, because even if you are placing meta surface anywhere out there, so that meta surface and the patch, they are lying, let's say, at this separated by a distance of air or foam out there. So all you can do is make sure they are not touching each other. This is what I can say right now. And second thing is, uh, if you are going for uh, pro feed connection, so I'm assuming that you are going for pro feed from the lower end side. If it is not a CPW, so that means from the lower end side you are going to use a connector, SMA out there, drill through the structure and connect it finely. And lower end side you are going to use metamaterial. So I guess it's fine. Uh, anyway, I'll make a search on it, but right now this is only what I can answer.
Okay, sir. Thank you. In the first design, next question is, in the first design, there was no substrate. Does it make any difference?
Of course, it will make a difference, but not much. What we are doing is, it's like this. You have got a, suppose you have to make a pattern out here, a circular pattern out here. Now what we do is, for making a circular pattern, we take a, let's suppose we take a paper, cut out a circle and shine it, put a torch at flashlight at one end and shine light through it. What will happen? A circular pattern will be created. Now second thing is that paper might get torn easily or something might happen. So what we do is, on the back side of paper we put a thermocol or a solid backing, and we get a circular cut in the same shape as that of paper, so that it becomes thick enough and it does not get broken or something. Same thing in the first structure when we used, we had gone only copper. There was no substrate backing on the lower end side of it. So for simulation purpose, it is fine, because it is not the substrate, but rather the shape of the metal that is on the top of it that is causing the waves to get reflected or get passed through it. So that in that case, we reduce the simulation time, remove the substrate, and studied only the metal structure out there. However, if you are choosing a substrate out there, different kind of substrate out there, so, and if you are designing FSS, so certain placing the substrate out there, the permittivity of the substrate also has to be taken into account for the equation. So in that case, probably if you're using a high quality substrate out there, let's say high permittivity substrate 10.2 or something. So in this case, what we are assuming, on the back end of the copper that you saw in the first design, air was there as a substrate. Air as a substrate was there, or vacuum as a substrate was there, with permittivity equal to 1. Next case, what we are doing is, we are choosing a substrate, let's say 5, 7, or let's say 15 or 150 permittivity. So in that case, mostly the size of the unit cell is going to reduce a bit. But that is one for size reduction, that is, and second thing is mechanical backing.
Okay, sir. I am asking last question. Then it is again related to FSS. So this will be the last question for this session.
Right, sir.
If the antenna is rectangular in shape, what should be the
Right.
shape of FSS?
if the antenna is rectangular in shape,
What should
look,
be the shape of SS?
right, in this case only, this is one of the good examples that have been taken in the paper. So as you can see here, the shape of the antenna that you see out here is might be rectangular. The patch is circular, the patch is semicircular, and the antenna is rectangular. But the FSS that has been taken in here, okay, that is combination of circular and rectangular structure out here. So the thing is, if you are making the FSS quite large enough, if the FSS is quite large enough, means the complete combination of cells 14 cross 14 is quite large enough compared to the antenna that is placed on the top of it, so it will not make any much of a difference.
So this was the last question of the day. So with this, now it's time to call this a day. So I thank you for your sharing of your expertise, sharing, clearing the doubts. And again, sir, some of the participants missed your email yesterday, so they're writing email address which you provided yesterday. Can you write again
Okay,
those addresses?
I'll put it here again, sir. So I'll share it. Okay, this is the
Okay,
these are
so
the addresses.
yes, so interested participants can note down these email addresses. So with this, sir, with the promise of meeting again tomorrow at the same time. So I thank you once again for your time and for your efforts for demonstrating the software